Welcome, Jimmy, to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Isole, this new album, Anesidora, and more things related to the metal world. We're starting, I think, with a common question. So, how has the band been during these 4 years? Because you released your last album in 2019. Now, 4 years later, we have Anesidora. How are things going during these 4 years?
Well, of course, the pandemic had its effect on things. We originally aimed to have the album out in 2021, but with all the restrictions happening and they kept closing down our studio apartment, not studio apartment, but the building where our studio is located. So we couldn't start recording until March in 2021. And then when we were pretty much finished, the studio got flooded. So we had to move, and it took a while to find a new place. So everything took way more time than we expected it to. Okay. But with the band, we just pretty much waited it out, the pandemic. We were supposed to play shows in March 2020 when the world started closing down. So for us, it was kind of a big bummer, really.
Okay, so could we say that this new album, Anesidora, was composed and written during the pandemic, or perhaps was in a part of session of dystopia?
It's mostly written during the pandemic, but our plan was to have it out earlier. The pandemic didn't really affect the work, the songwriting of the album, just the recordings of it.
Okay, well, this is your new album, your new presentation, and always the band thinks that is the last album is the best work to date. That's the way they're thinking, a lot of musicians, because the musicians think that this best effort is continue to evolve the band, continue forward, and push the boundaries into the sound of the band. So for you, what this Anesidora means into the career or result? Perhaps this new album has a meaning, a different meaning compared to the previous ones.
To us or to the fans?
No, to us, to you, sir, to you.
To you. Well, for us, we took a step back in how we, with the arrangements, and we scaled it down to a more live setting. Like every song should be able to be played live. And sure, we added some Hammond organs, but that can also be played live if we bring another guy with us. And sound-wise, we didn't really talk it through until we had our first demo songs, like, oh, this is how the album is going to sound. And we just picked the songs that fit good together, because for once we had more songs than we needed.
Okay. Well, the next year, Isole will accomplish 20 years of existence, because the band starts with the new name in 2004. Now the next year will be 2024. 20 years of existence. Perhaps the band will prepare something special for the first 20 years, or who knows? Or perhaps a live DVD. Perhaps an album of covers, album with covers. Who knows?
Yeah, it's nothing we have talked about really, but we had some discussions about when Forevermore turned 15, that we should do some shows and only play that album. So maybe we should do that next year, well, in 2 years.
Yeah.
Because 2005 is Forevermore.
Okay.
But we haven't really discussed anything like that. We did a 30th anniversary show in Denmark back in 2020, and then we counted Forlorn as part of Isole.
Okay.
But we haven't really had any discussions about any anniversary stuff, because right now we're focusing on Anesidora.
Okay. So, Dystopia was an album released at the beginning of the pandemic. So perhaps, as you told me in the first question, that a lot of tours was canceled, were canceled, a lot of gigs, etc. So, but now you are the opportunity to embark on a new tours, on European tours. So how will, sorry, how will be the set list into these new tours? Because now I think you will promote both albums because Dystopia didn't have a correct promotion because the pandemic.
Yeah, we did one tour for Dystopia, but we were supposed to play some festivals, and we had another tour planned for the next year. But so yeah, we have two new albums pretty much.
Yes.
But I think the set list will be composed based around those two albums, probably one more song from Anisidora or something like that, because the songs are pretty long. We can't really play, and now we have 8 albums out, so we can't really play from every album anymore. And but set list wise, yeah, we did try Songs of the Whales on the 70 Tons cruise, and it worked pretty good in a live setting too. So that one will probably be played.
Okay, talking about the history in in a comparison with the previous album. So, what is the main strength that this album has compared to the previous works? So, can we speak that is Isole can develop in their own sound without see the past into their discography?
You mean if the sound is evolving, or?
Yes, yes, it's possible. It's possible to evolve the sound of Isole and new things, but at the same time, without let the sound achieve over the years in the band.
Yeah, I think so. We have already started talking about the next album and what we're gonna do on that one, and there's always room for improvement. And what's important in Isole is that it feels and sounds like Isole, but we're not AC/DC, you know. We don't put out the same album every time. Yeah. But there's a constant evolution in both how we write the songs and what we can do. And the more we play together, I mean, Victor has been with us now for, is it 10 years already? No, 9 years. But he's only been on 2 albums compared to like when Jonas was in the band and they did 6 albums together. So there's a constant there's a constant development on how we approach the songwriting.
No, okay. Oh, so as well, you know that the new way of promotion music is talking about the singles. So which video will be the next one to promote much better the new album, etc. So this is the new way to hear music for the new generation, especially. So if we spoke about the 2 singles that you released previously to the release of this Anisidora, because it were the songs of the whales and the Open Your Mind were the first 2 singles. But besides of that singles, for you, which singles capture for you whole essence from this new album to put in a playlist for the people who listen now just singles?
Oh, that's a tough one. A song that represents the entire album.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go for the one I wrote. that's the obvious choice, but I think maybe Monotonic Screams is a good one to capture the entire vibe of the album.
Okay. Well, when I hear this Anisidora a lot of times, to do the review, to do this interview, I don't know that I always Isole has drinks a lot from the previous bands, so influence like Catatonia, like Catatonia, Candlemas, etc. That's in a way. So how do you see now the old bands, the new bands are a lot drinking from the past, from the past bands, and where entered the sound of the soul? Do you think that the soul has their personal sound compared to a lot of epic doom metal bands that already exist in the world?
Yeah, I think it's fairly easy to spot when it's Isole playing compared to Well, there's a big difference between Candlemass and Isole.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. That's
but when it comes to the epic stuff, I mean, a band like Sorcerer is also awesome, but they have their own sound compared to us. So it's, you bring the influences into it, but you make something that's you out of it.
Okay.
I'm sure there's some Candlemass in it. There's some Bathory in it. There's some, yeah, we bring from everything. I mean, I put in a lot of old heavy metal that wasn't in the sound before.
Okay. Okay. Well, as I remember when I spoke with Andrew from My Dream Bride, and we spoke about the who creates the doom metal. He thinks that it creates Candlemas because they believe that music is the original at that time. Well, obviously with the previous influence from Black Sabbath, but the first band that played doom metal in the world was Candlemas. So, as you are in a band of like very near to accomplish 20 years of existence, so what is your opinion about for you, who created doom metal in general? It was Black Sabbath, it was Candlemas, or perhaps do you have another band that no one knows? And because you I mean, before you play at you before you enter on a band and playing an instrument, you are a fan, so that you discover new bands in a lot of in your teenagers, etc.
I mean, what created doom metal? That's Candlemass with the Epicus, Doomicus, Metallicus, because doom wasn't, Black Sabbath was slow and heavy, but that wasn't doom metal, you know.
Yeah,
It's like slow down, down-tuned blues rock.
yes,
But when it comes to doom metal, it's Candlemass.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's true. That's true. So talking about
And what
now
was the
about
second part of the question?
no, that's one question and with a lot of
Okay,
explication. So talking about your band, you entered to the band in 2013. So 10 years ago. So how was the band for you before you entered as a fan, when you see the band or when you saw the band in live presentation, you hear the music before? So how was your approach to the band in the beginning before you entered to the band?
I actually started doing shows with them in 2012.
Okay.
So it's been 11 years now. And I was kind of a hang around. We met at parties. We had friends in common. We played shows together. I played in the support bands. So we knew of each other for a long time, even before I got the question to join. And so the transition into going from a fan to a part of the band was very easy, just because I knew the songs, and they just, oh, we're gonna play this song, and like, okay, and then I just played it with them. So Gävle is a really small town where we come from, so everybody has played with everybody pretty much.
Okay, so now you are in the band. So how now how do you approach change now you're in the band into the writing process, promotion? Because as well, you told me you knew the guys before you entered to the band, but now you are in the band with all stuff that the band requires. So how is your point of view of the band change during these 11 years since you are a fan and now you are into the band?
How the promotion part have changed?
No, how your point of view of the band changed compared to when
Oh,
you outside and now you are inside.
I'm still a fan of what we do. That's the main thing. But I think our friendships have evolved more into a brotherhood compared to before I joined the band, that when we just were drinking buddies pretty much. And well, I've always liked the guys. I think I met Christer the first time, that was 20 years ago, I think, at a festival. And we just had a good time together, and we kind of kept in touch here and there, and we ran at the same concerts and festivals and just random parties where friends had. So if my opinion of the guys have changed during my 11 years, no. Well, for the better, but I like them already. So.
Okay. Well, Isole is a band that changed a lot of times with the label, because you start with To Hate Records, then you enter to Naples Records, then enter then you enter to the, well, I don't remember the silent
Cyclone Empire.
Okay. I Hate Records, Naples Records, and you are now with Hammerheart Records. So for that,
Yes.
So how was the transitions to Naples Records when you entered 11 years ago, to Hate Records, to Naples Records, and now one with Hammerheart Records?
Well, we were signed with Napalm when I joined the band, but it became very clear pretty early that we were a very small fish in a really big pond.
Yeah.
So it was better for us to and for them to go our separate ways. And then we signed with Cyclone, and we were a bigger fish, but in a very small pond. And the stuff just didn't go their way, so we had to search for a new label after the Colm Hunter album. And the other band, Erebaltor, had just signed with Hammerheart, so it became like a package deal to bring Isole into that as well with Hammerheart. So it usually works out. We have our own studio and we record the albums, and we pay for the artwork, and we make an entire product that we just need somebody to release. And labels are more interested when all the work is already done. So that's the way we do things. Okay.
Well, if we will speak about the an supposed case. You know, a guy from wherever part of the world, and this guy never heard Isole. He saw you alive, and they approach to you and tell you, "Hey man, love your band. So please, can you recommend me an album that describe whole band to enter to the music of Isole?"
Yeah, that would probably be Silent Ruins. It's one of our most popular albums. It's got pretty much all of the good stuff that we put together. And for me, it's usually the album I listen to mostly.
Okay, so now into this aspect, yeah, you told me that if Silent Ruins is when for you is the best work for you at the band, but the fans thinks differently, because the fans are very attached to the old things. There are things that the Forevermore or Throne of Void, or at least Bliss of Solitude, are the best works to date at the band. And as we spoke in the first question was, and the first question, that Isidora is the best effort to date. So for you, as you are the fan, you listen and you think like this, like these kind of fans, because you are a fan of for the previous rock, metal, jazz bands in the 80s or 70s or 90s. So when you think like the first albums for your influence are the best efforts to date. So if a fan approach to you and say to that, I don't like this Isidora and I prefer the first two albums from you. So what's your opinion about this? I think sometimes is close mind about the fans that expect always chapter 5, chapter 9 of Forevermore.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same when it comes to bands I like. I usually like the early stuff, and well, I mean, you still can listen to the albums you prefer. So if you don't like what we're doing, that's too bad, because we're not gonna do Forevermore 2, and we're not gonna do Throne of Void 2.
Well, yeah, that's true. Oh, we're very close on this interview, Jimmy. And for this aspect, so what are the future plans that the band has for this and Isidora? Perhaps you will present more videos upcoming. Perhaps you will embark in more tours in the next and the next year, this year, or perhaps next in Europe and US, or who knows, you're to one tour here in Latin America. Who knows?
Yeah, that would be cool. And we're always open for it if the offer is good. We have some tours planned in I think it's in the next winter in Europe, and we have some festivals. We're looking at the different options, but there's nothing really confirmed yet, so we can't really speak about it. But there will be a tour. That's much I can tell.
Okay. Well, as a part of the full questions, and one of the few questions, few questions of this interview. So, if you have the opportunity to select 5 or 10 records that has the most approaches or has the most influential albums into the doom metal area, so for you, which albums will be?
Oh. Well, I gotta go with Nightfall by Candlemass, Into Glory Ride by Manowar,
Okay.
Crystal Logic by Manila Road, and well, that's a tough one. When it comes, I mostly listen to like 70s and 80s stuff, like Uriah Heep, but that's not doom metal, you know.
Well,
and Kiss and stuff like that.
Okay.
So 10 albums is kind of a big question, so I would need to think about that.
Oh, okay. Well, no worry. So, we're talking about from the meaning of the name Anesidora. Why the band decide to use? I think Anesidora was an ancient Greek name, so was in the Roman mythology, etc. For these aspects. So, who came with the idea to put Anesidora to this 8th album on the career of the career in Isole? And what exactly are the representations that the band has for this name into whole concept of the album?
It was my decision, suggestion to call it Anesidora, because the working title was Pandora's Box, and that's the whole concept with the cover art and everything. But I thought the title Pandora's Box, that's really boring, and it's been used so many times. So I did some research, and I stumbled upon Anesidora, and that's another name for Pandora.
Yeah.
And the word, the name, actually means she who sends gifts from below, and it suited with the whole concept that we were thinking about, with the how we are destroying the earth and everything. So it went good with it's a good looking word, and it sounds good, and it works with what we wanted.
Yeah, that's true. It's a great word. So, well, Jimmy, the sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one like me doing this one. Perhaps do you want to add congratulations on the new album? We did a review, as you can see. So, perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans and Metallerium followers?
Yeah, hope to see you one day. That would be really cool to tour Latin America. And if you haven't checked out the new album, and if you have checked out the new album, do it again.